get these to stop ringing. All right, tonight I want to dive more into that intermediate groove. My music stands in the picture a little bit. There we go. All right, crazy world out there right now, huh? Why don't we just play some drums? So the intermediate groove. I went over the beginner groove a couple nights ago. If you didn't catch that one, it should be in the announcements. There's an announcement tab in the group, so just click there. It'll take you right to it. As always, I've got the link to the written notation for these linked to the video, so click on that. That'll take you where you need to go to see those. So I've designed these grooves this week to all flow into each other. So you're going to notice some similarities to the beginner groove when we go to the intermediate. The kick pattern is going to get a little more complex, and we're also going to switch to the ride cymbal for a portion of it. So we're going to be practicing going from the hat to the ride and back. We've also got a little more of a complicated drum fill with this one. It's going to be more 16th notes instead of 8th notes in that last one. And then I'm going to demonstrate, once we go through the whole thing, I'm going to demonstrate flowing from the beginner to the intermediate. And then when we do another video, probably tomorrow night or Friday night, I'll go over the advanced groove and we'll flow through the entire thing. It's a great feeling to master all of these and just be able to play in and out of them. So let's get into this one here. Okay, so for the first measure on this one, again, if you're wanting to follow along and you don't have the written notation, it is linked to the video. So click that, it should take you right to the PDF. We are covering the intermediate groove this evening. First measure, same as the beginner with the right hand on the hat. We're playing 8th notes. Every downbeat is accented with an open hat on every 2 and 4. So again, that's just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I'll show you the open hat too. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We are still playing the snare on 2 and 4 with the left hand. So we'll put that together here. Okay. And then one of the ways this is going to be different than the beginner groove is for the second measure, we will actually be switching to the ride cymbal with the right hand. We'll still be accenting the downbeats. The way we'll be doing that is by playing on the bell of the ride. The way I like to do that is I like to hit the side of my stick against the bell. Gives it a nice ping sound. You can also experiment with playing just the tip of the drumstick on the bell. Whatever you like. I'll demonstrate both ways here just to see what you think in this high quality iPhone microphone for you. So here's just with using the tip of the drumstick. 1. Okay, so that sounds kind of tingy to me. I'm not a huge fan of it, but hey, different strokes, right? I'm going to show what it sounds like with the side of the stick. I just feel like I get a beefier sound out of that. Sounds a little more groovy to me. Again, even once we go to the ride, we'll still be playing the snare on 2 and 4. So let's put all that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Again, that's just hand so far. I haven't even covered the kick yet. But I'm going to show you how we transition from the hat to the ride. So it's just going to be 4 beats on the hat, then 4 beats to the ride, and we're going back and forth, measure to measure. Okay? So get my metronome going. I'm playing these at 80 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. goes. You can play this one for infinity. It'll just always switch back and forth like that. All right, let's cover that kick pattern now. So it's going to start very similar to the beginner groove where it was one and but then from there it's going to switch up a little more. Where this one starts to get more tricky than the beginner one is we're playing a lot more offbeats with the kick pattern. We've also got 2 16th notes right together, so you're going to have to play more of a boom bump with your foot as opposed to just one hit. So that can certainly take some work if you haven't worked on that before. I'm going to try and just clap the pattern while I'm counting, and then I'll demonstrate it on the kit. Let's see how well I can do this. Alright, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? Again, a lot of offbeats there. I'll try and clap it here, counting the offbeats with it, although this will be a little harder to do. Bear with me. 1 and 2 and 3 and starting over. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 4. All right, you couldn't pay me to do that for 5 minutes. All right. So now let's just practice it, just playing on the hat for now. Let's not worry about doing the whole groove. I'm just going to play straight 8th notes on the hi-hat as I work on the bass drum pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. Starting over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now we're just going to throw in the snare and the open hat. I'll just play that for a few measures. I won't go to the ride quite yet. Still just working on locking in that bass drum pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now let's just play the whole thing. I'm just going to switch hat to ride, measure to measure, like I showed a little earlier. If any of you are just now tuning in and you want to see the written notation to these exercises, the link is attached to the video. Just click on that, it'll take you to the PDF. Alright, so we're going to play the whole thing. Now when you're looking at the written notation, there is a drum fill in there. I haven't talked about that yet, so I'm going to play through this as if that drum fill doesn't exist yet. Once we show that, then we'll go over that drum fill. Alright, here we go. 80 beats per minute. Alright, and now let's cover that fill. So the drum fill for this particular groove, it's going to be the last half of the final measure. So whereas in the beginner groove, we played the entire last measure as the drum fill, this time it's only the back half of it. So you're still gonna play the first half of that pattern with the ride, and then you'll move into the drum fill on beats 3 and 4. The fill is completely 16th notes. So it's gonna be 2 hits on the snare, 3 hits on the floor drum, 4-tom, snare, mid-tom, snare. Okay, again, 2 snare, 3 4-tom, snare, mid, snare. So 1, 2. All right. 1, 2. 2. 2. Okay, so that's how I like to practice it, just to get the hand pattern down. Once you've locked that in pretty well, let's try practicing the, let's see. We'll start back at the 3rd measure. On the hat, we'll switch to the ride for the first half of that 4th measure, and then finish it up with the fill, so you can hear what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's your 3rd and 4th measures. I'll loop through that a couple times. Well, I think we're about ready to just put it all together here. So we're gonna do this at 80 beats per minute. I'll play through a few times there, and then we'll start to build the tempo up like we did with that beginner groove. This one I've maxed out kind of at around 120, I believe. Really the trouble for me gets with getting those 2 16th notes back to back at the higher tempos. That's definitely something for me to keep practicing. I think a lot of times, learning those 2 beats together is pretty tricky. It's one thing to lock in just those isolated kick patterns, but then once you start that starts to play all sorts of tricks in your mind. All right, here we go. Let's do the whole thing, 80 beats per minute. There you have it. My inner just came apart in my ear. Hold on. These are a little old. They've started to do this. Okay. I've got a few comments. Let me look at these real quick. Anthony saying hello, friend. Well, hello to you. My drum setup. This is Mapex Saturn. I've got more pieces than this. I've been going a little more minimalist lately, mainly because I've been unfortunately playing country music, and I don't need my huge set for that. I do have another high tom, and I have another floor tom. I've got 2 China cymbals. I've got another bell that I like to use. I usually actually play more metal, but I've been trying to branch out and be a little more experimental lately. But yeah, that's my drum setup. If you've got any more questions on it, just ask me. That bell is a beast. Yes, it is. This is the Sabian AAX Metal Ride. I found it used at Forks Drum Closet in Nashville at their old location, if any of you know where that is. Daniel, getting a new stack cymbal soon. Trying out some variations with all the difficulties. Awesome. That's what this is all about. I've been doing it on the hat and the ride. Throw some other cymbals in there, or play on the floor tom instead of the hat. Mix it up. Do whatever you want. This is drumming. We're supposed to be creative here. Okay. So we're gonna bump up the tempo here to 90. Starting from the top. Okay. Take it to 100. This thing really starts to groove once we get up to 100 and a little faster. Let's go to 110. All right, let's jump up to 120. Okay. So once I get faster than that, it starts to break down a little bit. But I'm all for embarrassing myself in front of, what, 25,000 people now? All right, 130. So yeah, kind of getting it. Sorry, that ride will ring for hours. Okay, maybe not hours. Yeah, once I get to 130, my foot starts to break down there. And I don't think it's worth playing it if I'm not playing it correctly. What's the saying? Practice doesn't make perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect. All right, so that's it. That's the intermediate drum groove. Hope everyone's enjoying these. For the advanced drum groove, if you haven't looked at that yet, we're going to introduce some ghost notes. We're also going to have a portion where we're playing 3 16th notes on the kick back to back. So as you can imagine, that one gets even harder to play at a faster tempo. And yeah, we'll get into that probably tomorrow or Friday, depending on my work schedule. If y'all have any questions, feel free to comment on this video. I am putting these up on YouTube as well, so if you're watching later on YouTube, comment there. I'll do my best to get back to you. Hope everyone's staying safe out there. Got one more comment here. Philip, you're welcome. Philip's thanking me for doing this. You're very welcome. I'm enjoying doing it. I'm learning as I go. If y'all have any feedback on what sorts of things you want me to do with this, or if these are too hard or too easy, let me know. Join the email list too. That's a really good way to get a hold of me. Or you could just message me on Facebook. That's cool too. Although Facebook does this thing where if you're not friends with someone and they message you, it hides it in your message requests. And so sometimes I don't see those for like 2-3 weeks. I'm trying to get better at looking at that, but it doesn't make it obvious. It doesn't notify you that those are there. So sometimes I look at that and I'm like, oh, this person tried to talk to me 3 weeks ago and I never saw it. Anyways, everyone have a good evening. I'll see y'all soon. Take care.